Meeting is called to order. This is Town Council public meeting for December 1, 2020. Start the Pledge of Allegiance, moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Here.
John Foreman,
Present.
Ralph Miller,
Present.
Colleen Sheehan,
Present.
Richard Sharp,
Here.
Julie Rivera,
Here.
Randy Niemeyer,
Present.
I am present, Rick Eberly,
Present.
David Austin.
Present. We have a quorum. Thank you. Chief Wilkening, start tonight with you. We have a contingent from the fire department here for a couple of swearing in ceremonies.
Breaking through Tyler Powell, Fire Department. They've been waiting quite a while for this because of COVID and the training they've been going through. We've been putting them off to come. We finally got on the same page. They've been volunteering for us for a while, but we need to officially get them.
That's what Chief Wilkening did years ago.
That's right.
Good question.
And the rules and regulations of the Cedar Lake Fire Department. And I will faithfully, impartially, and honestly discharge the duties of my office as a volunteer firefighter. Of the Cedar Lake Fire Department. To which I have been appointed. According to law. To the best of my skills and ability. So help me God. Thank you.
Once they're done shaking hands, everybody stand.
You can just come down. Good luck to you guys. Be safe. Brave guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Stay safe.
Good luck.
Thank
Good luck. Congratulations, guys.
Family want to take any time for pictures?
They're called me about 3 o'clock. So what do you want? So they want to replace tonight. We're the ones just got good stuff, guys. Congrats. Come on, Dad, get up there.
That map.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know you're, I at least know you're.
That's like Logan's getting a workout.
Congratulations, guys. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Although you've already been here a long time. They don't want our ugly.
No, that just ruined it.
The camera. That's why there's not a picture of us on the wall. People walk run away from you.
Okay. Thank you.
Or at least better.
I say for men, we all made us a mediocre with math.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chief. We have public comment on agenda items. Is there any public comment on agenda items? Third call, public comment on agenda items. It's closed. We have the minutes of the November 17, 2020 meeting, the claims, all town funds, $142,906.37. Wastewater operating, $165,343.67. Water utility, $41,013.61. Stormwater, $115,550.44. And payroll, $204,935.34. That's for 11/25 and 12/1. We have town grounds, beach, Lions Den, Vips building and restrooms use. Fee waiver, Hanover School Education Foundation annual penguin pluck, March the 6th, 2021. Is there a motion to accept and waive the reading of the minutes and accept the consent agenda as listed?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Sharp. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Rivera. Questions or discussion?
Yes. In the minutes, it indicated that we made a motion to defer the Hanover Township fire agreement, and I don't see that on the agenda. Where does that stand?
That is still in process of review and drafting by Dave. It'll be on our next agenda.
Right.
And I have drafted.
It's okay. Thanks, Bob. Any other questions or discussion? Roll call vote?
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Scheven.
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
Julie Rivera. Yes. Randy Neiman.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Ordinances and resolutions. Number one, this is a second reading of ordinance 1370, the year 2021 salary ordinance. Ms. Rivera, by its title only, please.
Ordinance number 1370, an ordinance amending town salary ordinance number 1370, establishing jobs and salaries to be paid certain offices, positions, and jobs within the town of Cedar Lake for the year of 2021, and repealing all ordinances or parts thereof in conflict therewith.
Thank you for the second reading of ordinance 1370. Is there a motion to adopt?
I'll make the motion to adopt.
Motion by Ms. Scheven. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Rivera. Questions or discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Robert Carnahan,
I will vote no again, and I just comment that our clerk treasurer, her first year saved about $40,000 by not hiring another employee. And she just reported to us of the 2 grants she got for the fire and police department.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Scheven.
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
Julie Rivera.
Yes.
Randy Neiman.
Yes, motion carries 6-1. Ordinance is adopted. Item 2, ordinance 1372. Zone map amendatory ordinance 14627 Parish Avenue. Ms. Rivera, by its title only, please. Mr. Austin.
Ordinance number 1372, an ordinance reclassifying certain lands in the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, for zoning purposes, and amending town ordinance number 496, being an ordinance replacing zoning ordinance number 278 entitled Cedar Lake, Indiana, zoning ordinance passed and adopted by the Board of Trustees of the town of Cedar Lake, Indiana, and all amendments passed subsequent thereto, repealing zoning ordinance number 278, all amendments thereto, and all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, establishing new comprehensive zoning regulations for the town of Cedar Lake, and providing for the administration, enforcement, and amendment thereof in accordance with the provisions of the Indiana state statutes. Passed by the Town Council of the Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, the 13th day of December, 1989, and all amendments passed subsequent thereto.
Thank you. Austin.
So one lot, RM, two zoning amendment ordinance, it's a no-brainer, for the planning commission, it's consistent with the planning and the use in the area, and single homes can be built in this parcel.
This is a 1 or 2 reading ordinance? Thank you. You've heard the only reading of ordinance 1372. Is there a motion to adopt?
I will make a motion for the rezone from residential multifamily R1 zoning district to residential R2 zoning district.
Thank you. Motion by Mr. Carnahan. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Sheehan. Questions or discussion?
Julie.
Sorry. Seconded by Ms. Rivera. You guys are throwing your voice like Ralph and Rick. God, this is confusing. The only one I don't get wrong is John. Any questions or discussion on the motion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Scheven,
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yeah.
Julie Rivera.
Yes.
Randy Neiman.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Plan item 1 is letter of credit Centennial Phase 12. Mr. Eberly, do you want this?
Yes, Mr. President, you have the letter of credit in your packet, comes from First Midwest Bank. And it met with the Plan Commission approval at the last meeting of that body.
Okay. Is there a motion by the council to accept the letter of credit for Centennial Phase 12?
So moved.
It's for an amount of $98,079.16. Motion by Mr. Sharp,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Sheehan. Is that right, Trisha? Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Scheven.
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
Julie Rivera.
Yes.
Randy Neiman.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. New business item 1 is pavement maintenance asset management plan. Mr. Eberly?
Mr. President, I think Jill is on the line and she can take this one for me. I don't seem to have this in my packet.
Ms. Murray,
apologize.
Council, this item is your annual pavement asset management plan. It was distributed to you via paper. Rick, it was sent to you via PDF as a separate file because it was a larger file. In your
Okay.
packet is a map outlining all of your Paiser ratings. This was completed by Don Oliphant and Christopher Burke Engineering. It was submitted as part of our annual requirement for participating and being eligible for community crossing grants. All of your roadways have been reviewed and rated, allowing for a 5-year maintenance plan for those repairs. We used an average of $250,000 per year for that maintenance. And this will be used by you and the street committee and the Public Works Department and your Director of Operations as they prepare for future budgets as well as road projects.
Jill, the Fairbanks is not included in this, correct? From what I see here on the map.
Yeah, that's in there, Bob.
no, only the road in
Yeah.
front of your house.
Mine's
That
done, and I'm getting black over that.
As well you should.
This is every,
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it doesn't show that being worked on.
It's the Paiser rate.
Fairbanks, the Paiser rating on Fairbanks should be a 10. So I will review the map with Don.
This is the rating of
This
all-
So it looks like it's
This is
green
the
to
rating.
me.
Jill, is there a way that this could be put online and downloadable for the public? Because I think this is an important document for people to have access to. We get a lot of questions every year about how we go about evaluating streets. And it doesn't hurt to have all of this information out there.
It absolutely is. Sarah and I, as a matter of fact, last week were reviewing areas on the website where people would look for it.
Okay.
So upon your approval and acceptance, this has been submitted to LTAP.
Okay,
And we just wanted your acknowledgement on the plan before we put it out to everyone else. So
Okay.
upon your approval of the annual asset management plan, we will get that posted on the website as soon as we can.
okay, thank you.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
Bob Fairbanks is a green, like Jill said, it's a 9 or a 10 by the looks of the legend.
Is there a motion by the council to approve the pavement maintenance asset management?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Foreman, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Miller. Questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
I'm gonna say no because I can't understand it, just getting it right here on the desk.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Scheeben.
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Randy Neiman.
Yes, motion carries 6-1. Item 2 is 2021 insurance renewal. Mr. Everly, Ms. Sandberg.
Yes, well, I'll start, Mr. President, and Jen can chime in as well. We had our committee meeting last week with our consultant, with Henriette, and it was the consensus of the group that we are recommending that we go with the renewal of the Anthem plan at a 5.2% overall increase in total premium. There were only 2 bidders, Jen, correct? We had Anthem and United Healthcare, and Anthem provided what we thought was the most attractive package for our employees and for the town.
That is correct. Anthem and United Healthcare were the only ones. Allstate, Allied, National General, Trustmark, Cigna, and AIM all declined to quote, or their quotes were nowhere near competitive.
Very good.
Thank you.
Originally, Anthem did quote us an increase of 9.63%, but after some back and forth on the part of Diana Heights at Henriette Group, Anthem came down to a 5.2% renewal.
Good job.
Is there a motion by the council on the 2021 insurance renewal of the recommended plan with Anthem as the provider?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Carnahan, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Scheeben. Questions or discussion? I have discussion point real quick. I went to a meeting a couple weeks ago where U.S. Senator Mike Braun and I had a chance to talk, and there was about 15 people in the room. It was a little invite-only meeting, and there was a medical doctor there, a guy who runs a private practice. He's a physician, general practitioner, really experienced guy. And the topic of health insurance came up, and Mr. Braun explained some of this stuff in a very succinct way that shows you what a scam health insurance is. And this doctor kind of backed that up, because what these insurance providers do is they kind of overinflate everything and then say, you're getting this negotiated rate down, right? But it's still building in their margin into that business model. That's a really high margin, to where if the patient went directly to the doctor, and the doctor even said, if every patient that came in paid me $50 for a visit, I'd be rich. He said, because by the time I deal with insurance companies and go through that entire process of all this, what they call negotiation, the only people that make money are the insurance companies. It's the biggest scam that we have going, and the Affordable Care Act only exacerbated it. It gave the insurance companies more power than what they ever had when there was more of a capitalistic nature to the marketplace, because what it did was it took capitalism out of it. And now private citizens can't just go to a doctor and have a simple visit. It goes through this process of negotiation, which means that $100 visit became a $300 visit by going through insurance, and then it's negotiated down to $200 so the insurance just put their $100 in it.
Right.
It's an incredible scam. I'm glad we have good benefits here for our employees, but this whole thing is absolutely crazy. And when you talk to actual medical doctors and a US senator who's sitting there in the room when they talk about healthcare, you find out this whole thing is completely nuts. And adding more government to it is only going to make it worse. It's going to make it less transparent for the consumer. And as I said to Senator Braun, I said, healthcare is the only thing that we buy as consumers that we have no idea what the hell the price is. You go into a car dealership, you don't say, I want that car. I'm only going to pay 10 grand for it. It's a $50,000 car. No, you know the price tag on it. Same thing when you go to a grocery store, a restaurant, whatever, but you go into a doctor's office, hey, what's it going to cost for a visit? Well, I don't know. What insurance do you have? I mean, what the hell kind of answer is that? So while we got a good plan, it's a plan within an industry that's a complete scam. It's a Ponzi scheme. It should, some of these insurance companies should be led away in shackles, because what they're doing, somebody on Wall Street would be thrown in prison for. So just my little 2 cents. I wanted to rant a little bit. That stuff just really ticks me off. So, any other questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Scheven.
Yes.
Richard Clark,
Yes.
Julie Rivera. Yes. Randy Neiman.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Item 3 is the sustainability plan. Mr. Eberly.
Members of the council, this is a request that the council had made of Buzz Crone and Associates some time ago, probably a couple of months ago, I believe, asking them to come up with a proposal for a financial sustainability plan for the community, for the council to work with this firm on. They brought us a proposal, I believe, dated perhaps late October, and then we asked them to add a couple of things to those, or to this proposal, those being the town investment and fund management policy, as well as an analysis of being able to, how we may be able to finance the lake restoration project. So Mr. Crone has added those 2 items to this proposal. The original proposal was for a range of $20,000 to $30,000. With those 2 new items added, I believe that takes this to between $25,000 and $40,000. Yes, $25,000 to $40,000. That's on the 3rd page of the proposal. So it's here for your consideration. Those 2 items I mentioned are listed as items 1 and 3 in your work session, but they are included in this proposal from Crone and Associates. So it's ready for your action this evening if you're ready to act on it.
Thank you, Mr. Everly. And if you remember, this was something at the beginning of last year before COVID that we discussed in a council meeting. I had circulated a kind of an outline of some objectives that we wanted to achieve. And a lot of this was centered around how do we grow our, especially public safety services, to meet the demands of a growing community, kind of where the conversation started. And you can see now that we actually have something in hand that will help us to do some of those projections. So we're running the business of the town like a business instead of kind of a year-to-year or a day-to-day thing. We're looking out in front, we're planning things, and we're being proactive to the needs of the community instead of kind of doing things on the back end like we always have. So I hope that the council will favorably consider this, because I think that for the management of our community, these are things that we need to do every several years to make sure that everybody internally, the public, and the elected officials are all equipped with all the right information to make the right decision. Is there a motion by the council on the sustainability plan to approve or deny?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Thank you. Motion by Ms. Sheehan. Second. Second by Mr. Sharp. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Scheven. Yes. Richard Sharp.
Yeah.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Reports, town council. Floor is yours, Mr. Carnahan.
Well, they had the parade of lights and they had 22 units in it and the streets were packed with people.
Wasn't a super spreader, was it, Bob?
Did the Lake County Health Department show up, put people in
I don't think
handcuffs?
so. But everybody complimented the job. I wasn't out there with them because it was my grandson's birthday, so the chamber had a committee that ran it, and they did a great job.
Very good.
Yeah, they did.
It's good to hear. People want to get out and do something. Any other council reports? I have a couple of items. One is recently we had a water main break over by Utopia along Paris. And I see this company out there along 133rd again, drilling into our pavement. I know they're working as a contractor for AT&T and we can't stop them from necessarily addressing their infrastructure needs. But I think we need to adopt some kind of a policy where there's some transparency with this stuff because we don't even know they're out there. They're drilling into our asphalt. You know, they do their own utility locates, but our people had to respond en masse to this water main break because it was a huge main break. And Rick was there, I was there, and it was a real problem. I mean, this could have caused a serious ripple effect. If there happened to be a need for emergency response by the fire department, we would have had no water pressure to do so. But none of us ever know what's going on. It's not that we can deny them access to their utility, but there should be some sort of procedure so at least there's transparency and we know about it ahead of time. That way, all of our public safety people, utility people can be notified and at the ready with any sort of information they may need to share with the contractor to make sure that these main breaks don't happen, or at least can be mitigated. So Dave, is there something procedurally that we can do from a lawful standpoint to make sure that those people come before us first to at least communicate?
In some fashion, the resolution of the town council and utility board would make sense.
Okay.
We talked about that. I was thinking through technical language. I'd like your permission to just have a brief discussion with Don Oliphant or Neil Simstead. Get some language.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? I mean,
Is
for
that
Tim not
something
to
that'd be
know
helpful
people are
to
in
you
the
guys
town.
to have a little upfront on this
Yeah,
stuff?
there's been, I mean, some of these things that have gone in, like some of the cable boards and some of the lines, people have come in and got a permit and gave us a scope of work and let us know. Some of them they don't.
I mean, we still have a hump in Parish from them boring too shallow under it.
Yeah.
They're ruining our pavement too.
Yeah, and some, I mean, I talked to a couple of different people and Sharonville has a place thing where they have to come in and give them a plan. I mean, a couple of places they have some.
I have already talked to Cheryl officials about that water and so.
Rick,
I mean, they called in for locate for the water and the sewer line. Unfortunately, the water main that was hit that cross parish was not on any of our drawings or anything. And we did not know that water main that got hit existed.
Rick, is this something that that you think would be a good thing to do?
Well, I like the idea of some sort of a permit issued by the town, Randy. I just, I would echo the comment that was just made that in this particular case, this was an unusual situation where it was a water main that nobody knew existed. It wasn't on any drawings. And out in the field, I was with Brandon when he mentioned to the locator that they would never have located this line. It wasn't something any of us knew about. We couldn't identify the line ourselves. So in this particular case, having a permit local permit issued wouldn't have helped, but it's still, I think, a good idea overall to have our contractors get used to the idea of coming in and just getting a permit, so they notify us when they're working in our rights of way.
Thank you, Rick. If you can work with the town attorney on that, that'd be great to get that up and running.
Sure.
The other thing I had is that, there's always a lot of talk about government transparency, and one of the things that we talked about earlier in this year as well was doing a better job at making sure that all public meeting materials, including ordinances, things that are in our packet, are available to the public. Beyond that, I think we need to look at, I notice when we communicate with people on our boards and commissions, that people have their personal email addresses. And if there's ever a public records request made, then they're going to go into people's personal email. It would be best, and I think we have the server capacity here now, that everybody who's a part of the town, whether they're appointed or elected official, have a town email address. Bob, I know that you use yours. It's as simple as a forward being attached to it right away. So it could go right to your Robert.Carnahan@Cedar Lake.in, even if somebody sends it to the one that you use. So you could use the same one, but it would come through the town server, and that way, if there's ever a public records request.
Now it comes to the town server and Frank forwards it to me.
Okay, but okay, just as long as we're running this stuff through the town server, so if there's ever something that's requested from a public records request, our boards and commission members need to all have town email addresses.
Mr. President,
Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
all town employees, if I'm not mistaken, including the council and board members, have a town email address. If you don't know it, we can get with Cliff and ensure that everybody has their information.
Right now, they don't. I still email plan commission members and redevelopment commission members on their personal
Oh,
email.
he said employees, right? He didn't say commission.
I believe they have it, they just don't utilize it. So, but we can ensure that. We've been looking into the email system anyways to ensure that we're getting the best email system for the best cost. I believe it's through Microsoft right now, but Cliff's been looking into that for us to try to get a better rate for us.
It'd be better for professionalism of the town too, that if somebody's emailing the redevelopment commission chairman, that it's the cedarlakein.org domain. But like I say, for transparency's sake, if somebody makes a public records request, you don't want to have to go through the process of digging into someone's personal life for public information. This stuff should be readily available to the public when they request it. That was it. That's my report. Town attorney?
The town needs to consider the retention of Crow LLP for arbitrage calculations on now completed bond financing project. These are the 2007 A, B, and C series of bonds. Projects are completed. There were excess funds on the backside of those projects, and now the Internal Revenue Code requires the calculation and payment, if any, of tax owed.
You're asking for retention of Crow Horwath?
Yes, I
Okay.
Crow. I think it's called Crow.
Gotcha. Is there a motion to amend the agenda to allow for consideration?
I'll make the motion again.
Motion by
I'll
Mr. Foreman, is there a second? Second by who?
Me.
Ms. Sheben? I think the mask makes Julie sound like Colleen. Any questions or discussion? Roll call?
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Scheven.
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
Julie Rivera. Yes. Randy Neimeyer.
Yes, presentation of the item. This is for
President, I'd like to
consideration.
make a motion to engage Crow for the arbitrage tax calculations needed for the, was it 2007, did you say? ABC bond?
2017.
Yeah, RDA.
RDA.
Motion by Mr. Foreman, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Sheben, questions or discussion? Roll call?
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Scheven.
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
Julie Rivera.
Yes.
Randy Neimeyer.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. They did a great job for us on those refinances, so that's a good team there to work with.
They did.
Any other reports, Mr. Austin? Clerk Treasurer?
I just wanted to report to everyone, because I don't believe everybody was previously copied on the email, but during the budget process, we went ahead and we filed an excess levy appeal, the 3-year growth. We did hear back from the DLGF and they did approve our excess levy appeal. Let me get the exact number. So it was approved in an amount of $36,105, which is right about what the calculation was anticipated. So that will be a permanent increase in the max levy that will be utilized, as we had discussed, for the public safety increases.
Good. Step one.
Yep.
Thank you, Jen. Town manager, any reports?
Yes, Mr. President. At the last meeting, we had 3 separate residents in attendance regarding some what I'll just characterize generally as drainage issues.
One of them's here tonight, Rick.
Pardon me?
I said one of them's here tonight. Mark.
I've had a chance to talk to Mr. Lamika this afternoon. He's over in at 12712 Meadowlark Lane. He and I are going to get together at his house one day next week when I'm back in the office to go over that. I've gone over his file and looked at the pictures and the video that he provided to us a couple of years ago. So I'm going to be meeting with him at his house next week to get a firsthand look-see at that project. I intend to get a hold of Mrs. Pro, if I'm saying that right, P-R-O-U-G-H. She was of 15004 Cary Street regarding her issue. I've had a chance to look into that, talk to several people about it. I do not believe it's a drainage issue in her case, but I do want to meet with her at her property to get, again, a closer look at that. And then the other project that Mr. Denick talked to us about a couple of weeks ago in the backyards of the properties on Osborne Street. I've sent a letter to the 2 property owners. It went out on Wednesday of last week. I've asked them to move 2 things. One property owner has to move a split rail fence, and the other property owner has a row of small shrubs that will need to be relocated so that we can do the work at the north end of what's called the Knott property, K-N-O-T-T. And I've given an email directive to Public Works to just go out and do that project. We're not going to wait for a storm board rescheduled meeting. We're going to do it as soon as that weather permits, and giving those residents 10 days to move those 2 items. Now that'll occur after next week's stormwater board meeting, but it will be as soon as weather permits, and we're not waiting for stormwater board action on that issue. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is that we have a staff meeting scheduled for Thursday afternoon to start tackling the zoning ordinance changes in earnest. And then, of course, as you know, we're going to be going into the subdivision control ordinance as well, and doing some work on the comp plan with Veritas in the real near future here. But the zoning ordinance is the one we're going to start on Thursday afternoon as a staff meeting. I'm going to be participating by Zoom, but there are about 4 of us in that meeting. So, and then the other 2 things were just on your work session item, and that was the town investment and fund management policy, and then the ecosystem restoration financial analysis that we can talk about at a later time. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Appreciate it. Director of Operations, Mr. Kubiak. Police Department, Chief Fisher.
2 new guys, 2 new officers started last. I'm kind of losing you guys for some reason here. Are you still there?
We're still here.
All right. I'm losing you for some reason. It's his poor internet connection, and you got good signal. So
Because you're in Crown Point, not Cedar Lake.
That could be, sir. As I was saying, our 2 new officers started last week, so other than that, nothing else to report.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks.
Fire Department.
No report right now.
Thank you, Chief. Work session items. Number 1, town investment and fund management and policy ordinance matters. Mr. Eberly.
Well, once again, Mr. President, that's something we're going to be discussing with Crone and Associates. They gave us a sample policy from one of the collar communities down around Indianapolis. But it's, as we expected, it's going to be a pretty simple matter of looking at primarily 2 funds that I've had a chance to meet with Buzz and Corby about, as well as Sue Hayes. And you don't quote me on the numbers. I believe it's 631 and 633, but they're wastewater funds that are the best candidates for possible investment. One has $2.75 million in it. The other's got north of $7,500,000 in it. We want to make sure we maintain liquidity in those accounts. But it'll be a pretty simple fund management policy that we'll be able to put forward. And then that's item 3 there, if I could, is the ecosystem restoration financial analysis. We want Crone to get all of our funds like TIF, the stormwater fund, the wastewater funds, to see what kind of help they can give us in funding a lake restoration project.
Yeah, Rick, also Sue Hayes has quite a bit of analysis on that subject from 2 years ago.
Yeah, she does, John, and she and I have talked about that too. So
Okay.
We did some pro formas on the stormwater funds and wastewater funds.
Okay, I just want to make sure you knew that.
Right.
Item 2. Go ahead, Rick.
The personnel policy, yes, Mr. President. That item 2 is more for Chief Fisher and Chief Wilkening to discuss. They've had a meeting with a company that may be able to render us some services, but I think in general we wanted to talk about possibly updating our personnel policy. So I'll let one of those gentlemen talk about that.
Council, we've been meeting with a company called Lexipol to help update our police policy procedures, fire policy procedures, and then in talking with Rick, a procedure with the town to have a consistent update. If you wouldn't mind, I would love to bring that to you at the next meeting with some information, if you don't mind.
Chief Fisher, is this, part of like reaching out to this company that you're reaching out to? Is this to kind of make sure that we have a continuing evaluation of these policies? Because it seems like, especially with you guys as first responders, you saw it this year in 2020 with riots around the country and everybody wanting to take every tool away from police officers. And I know some of that police reform has become reality, and maybe some of it's not as easy to figure out as what we'd all like it to be. Is this working with this company kind of gearing towards making sure you're always up to speed on that stuff?
That's 100% correct, sir. This company will actually review policy on a weekly basis based on Supreme Court decisions, Indiana Supreme Court decisions, common practices, and what's commonly used, especially for law enforcement side. Now, on the fire side, Chief Wilkening could give you a little more update, but they kind of follow the, I think it's called IFPA. Is that right, Chief?
It's the NFPA.
Yeah, so
When any type of fire or building code is updated, they also update it, and they follow the Indiana and the international code as well.
right. So, so as far as the police side is concerned, yes, this would basically certify our policies and procedures. It's just a large number. I've had an opportunity a couple weeks ago to sit down with Jen and discuss the cost, especially the initial startup. But once we get it started, it will be a yearly fee. They will update all of our policies continuously. Whenever there's a policy update, which I'll be able to show you at the next meeting. They'll actually email it to us with the new Supreme Court ruling or Indiana Supreme Court ruling as to why they recommend a policy to be updated. Furthermore, they send out testing or policy updates to officers through emails on a continuous basis. They also, to ensure that the officers learn the policies and understand them. When a policy is updated, they literally send it to every officer that has to sign off on it, saying that they've read the new policy and the reason why. But there's a lot of good information on it. It's just a large cost to start it up. So,
Thank you, Chief. We'll look forward to seeing that presentation.
Yeah, I'll just
yes,
wait.
sir.
Fair enough.
Dave, do you have any questions?
Wouldn't this be quality item for the Council Affairs Committee or one of your committees to kind of vet the first walkthrough on this?
I know that it's been in front of the Public Safety
I
Board.
didn't know it has.
Yeah, it came before the public.
So I think that was the right step. And I know that the chairman, Mr. Caper, called me about it. And I said, it sounds like it makes sense because it gives you kind of a real-time access to the latest and greatest in government making life more difficult. So that's something that I think is important for all of us to be up to speed on. Unfortunately, it's changing all the time.
It
So,
sounds like we're letting cap.
yeah, Public Safety Board's been looking at this, so.
Was it something in the budget? I gotta ask. Is this just being sprung? Did we talk about it and plan for it, or is this something that's gonna,
No,
We'll
this
take
is
it out of
new.
the fire department.
fire department's paying?
We usually do.
John, this
Just because Todd's here, I thought I'd throw that out there.
John, this is something new that that actually I learned through the chief schools where it started for policy updates. So when I went to the chief school in October, I learned about this program that's being used nationwide. I've also got some feelers out to some of our insurance companies to see if they will help us on the initial startup because it'll actually make it easier for them, the insurance companies.
Got it.
So we're working on it. We've been working on it pretty handily. Chief Wilkening and I, before I went out, had some meetings with them. We just hadn't had a chance to meet with Rick yet. But it is a amazing program.
It's totally transparent. There's just, and we really have no real say about the changes that are made. It's what's real time happening and,
It's good.
you know,
It's objective then.
we're really, yes, it is.
It's good.
It's out there, so.
I think that'll help him if he ever has to defend us in court.
Right, I mean, it takes all that out.
No, right. Now that, look forward to seeing it, Chief.
I have
No problem, sir.
question. Todd, we got a new ambulance and it has ultraviolet disinfecting built right into it.
Yeah, we added the COVID light, ultraviolet light to the back of the ambulance.
And
Disinfected.
we also have 5 ultraviolet machines that they can put in various places.
Right.
They set it for a time depending on the size of the room. And they got about 30 or 45 seconds to get out of there. You have one over at the fire station.
Yep, we have, the town hall has 2, fire department has 1, the police department has 1, and the public works has. And we trained everybody on the use of it.
And our sewer department in Lowell, years ago, they put ultraviolet light in to disinfect the bacteria in the sewer plant. And I believe we paid $3,500 for each one of those 5 units. And we also got, an $8,500 grant from the county?
We applied for it. We're still waiting the
Oh, we're
response.
still waiting. I thought we got it.
I've submitted all the paperwork. I'm just waiting on a response from county.
Through the CARES Act, we were able to get that. The work that Jill and Jen did. Got those units for us, so I mean, they're pretty important. We use ours every single day.
Good job.
Thank you. We went over the ecosystem restoration financial analysis. Mr. Everly, any other work session items?
We have a
Not
session 2 weeks.
President.
Okay, thank you. Written communication? I don't see any. I don't see anything. We'll go to open public comments. You have public comment?
Less than an hour meeting, Randy, it's a record.
Hey, wait a second. We still got public comment. Mark, help us keep it short if you could.
Mark Enoch, 10813 West 134th Place. I will do my best to help keep it short. It'll be a lot shorter than a couple weeks ago when I was here. I guess, everybody just heard the update from Mr. Everly. I would like to, personally thank Mr. Niemeyer and Mr. Everly for getting this handled after last town council meeting, since the stormwater board meeting ended up being canceled last week anyways. In addition to that, I would like to thank Mr. Everly and Mr. Kubiak in advance for handling this just as soon as they possibly can, following all protocols and soil conditions permitting. And then last, I would like to thank Mr. Foreman and Mr. Niemeyer for suggesting that I fill out a planning commission application at the last town council meeting.
So you filled it out for stormwater, right?
Yes, I did.
Very good.
It was something I've been considering for a while after the dealings that I've had with the stormwater board over the last 8 months. But without your guys' suggestions, I probably wouldn't have done it. So once again, thank you.
Here's the interesting thing you're gonna find though, Mark. If you happen to get appointed, some of those challenges that you'll be faced with that sometimes are difficult to understand on the surface become clearer. So you're gonna be faced with some questions and challenges that'll be similar to the situation you're in. You're gonna be able to kind of go back to this and working with our town manager and our engineers and stuff, find ways to solve problems. But one of the things that I really liked about your presentation last week was the amount of research that you did, how much you cared about it. Not just because it was your property, but you took the time to really scope everything out. So if you do happen to get appointed, take that same approach to other people's flooding issues and you'll do well.
Certainly. Thank you for the suggestion.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? No, this is open public comment, so the floor is yours.
From Ryan Cooper, who's the water superintendent out of Public Works.
Ryan Kuiper?
Kuiper, yes.
Yeah.
He lives like 3 houses down from me, which I just found out. I had an issue last year with this, and I took care of it myself. This year the issues happen again, and it's a lot worse. I'm on the corner of Osborne and Mark.
Could I get your name and address for the record,
Robert
please?
Kreider, Crider.
Okay.
Address is 13401.
Thank you, Robert. Appreciate it.
Warren Street.
Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No worries. Should have told you off the get-go.
It's okay.
Anyways, I live in the corner lot. Now, I'm not sure if it's the garbage truck or the recycling truck or the leaf pickup. They drive down the street. Each one of the trucks has a different method depending on the driver. And they back down the street. Well, they're backing through my yard, and they pretty much destroyed like the whole front of my yard, about 5 feet in, about 10 feet long, like driving their trucks right through my yard while they're going around the corner there. And Ryan told me to come here, see if I could address you guys somehow. Maybe getting that
You know if
taken
it's a garbage truck? Because if it is, I can get a hold of Doug Rosenbaum with Republic. He likes to hear from me on these things.
Back road?
Huh?
Back road?
Absolutely. Doug always loves to get my messages.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, that's not just
Yeah, if we can find a way to like pinpoint it to whether it's a garbage truck, if it's a town truck, obviously we will have to repair the damage, but if it's a garbage truck, they'll have to repair it.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I mean, it's got Dewey's on it. You can see.
Which,
Dewey's right
yeah,
next
which
to it,
our trucks have that and so do garbage trucks.
Right, so I don't know. It happened last year. I took care of myself with one little track mark. Took me all summer to regrow the grass. Then like 2 weeks.
Is
ago,
there like a neighbor that maybe is around on garbage day that could maybe keep an eye on it for you, take
Somebody
a
has a
picture or
broom.
something?
I mean, kind of, but I mean, at this point, it's already happened, so I don't really
The
know.
way we've gotten property repaired before when it has been a garbage truck is by people taking a picture of the garbage truck actually doing the
I
damage.
mean, I wish it worked, so.
Yeah. I understand that. I'm just wondering if there was somebody around you or,
That has a camera.
A ring media camera.
No, because I'm not sure exactly what day it happened. You
Well,
know,
garbage day is on Monday, so
yeah.
that would be one day to set it out.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
take a look at it.
I don't know if they, I mean, they obviously don't do it every time, but, you know, last year was just a little blemish. But this year, I mean, you know, I just want someone to come out with a Bobcat and grade it flat and then replant my seed next year. But I was also concerned about, is there, I know there's sort of a shared property line there on the corner of my property, from what I understand. Can I put, got some big rocks in my yard back. Can I put anything on that corner to sway people from going near it?
There have been other residences that have done that. They
I
put
do- I
rocks
do
as
know
long as it's
some.
on their property.
This damage in right of way or completely in private spot?
I
You have
would-
to go to Lake County
I wouldn't
GIS
know.
to find out
You'd
who
have
owns
to-
what.
We would have to pinpoint that in order to make that determination whether it was in the right of way or not.
If some of that is in public right of way, and town public,
Could fix it.
yeah, it's quick.
What's your address again?
13401 Osborne,
13401?
corner house.
Okay, Rick, our town manager's on the call on Zoom. So Rick, 13401 Osborne, if you could take a look at Lake County GIS and just let us know if that's his land or our easement, that would be helpful. And then we can take corrective action based on that.
I'll be glad to do that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Rick.
What should be my next step?
So your next step is wait and
Yeah,
let us take a look at it and we'll reach out to you. What, do you mind giving us your phone number
Absolutely.
on or off the record? You can just come write it down if you like. You don't have to say it on, because the whole world.
Yeah, that way Rick has your contact and we can work on.
Or wait till the meeting's over and we shut this off if you don't mind sticking around. That'd be good.
No problem at all.
Robert, appreciate it. Thank you. Any other public comment? Any public comment?
Mr. President,
Mr. Everly.
Rick, if Tim Kubiak is still there, perhaps the resident could give his name and number to Tim so I could get it from him.
Okay, good enough.
Perfect.
Okay, public comment is closed. Our next council meeting will be Tuesday, December 15th, 2020. Look for that time to actually move ahead because that's usually traditionally our, we have a meal afterwards.
Before fire chief leaves, if you
Yeah.
know, there's an executive session beforehand.
Chief, there'll be an executive session before every meeting. December 15th. We'll probably move the time up on the meeting. We usually do that last meeting of the year. We move it up to 6 or 6:30. So be watching for
Yeah,
that
just see
time
where-
online. We'll post that plenty in advance when we decide what time we need to start it. Okay? This meeting's adjourned.
Hey, Robert, is your dad